All right, Unexplained ones, this is Dr. Mounts, and welcome back to All Things Unexplained. On January 8th, 2026, John Greenewald Jr., founder of the Black Vault and one of the world's foremost FOIA researchers, released a blockbuster story involving UFO whistleblower David Grusch, a previously secret Department of Defense Office of Inspector General, that's OIG, report involving a UAP UFO-related whistleblower reprisal investigation. Greenewald obtained this report through a FOIA request, that's Freedom of Information Act, that he filed in April 2025, not because someone leaked it, but because he legally forced its release via FOIA. And this episode, we're going to read this report carefully, quote directly from it, and separate what it actually shows from what people are guessing. But before we get into that, if you're watching us on our YouTube channel, the best way you can support the show is by grabbing that subscribe button and commenting on the video. That really does help us out more than anything else. Plus, it will enter you into our giveaways, which we'll get into at the end of the video. And now, here's Larry.
I am here to discuss the so-called flying saucers.
We know now that in the early years of the 20th century, this world was being watched closely by intelligences greater than man's.
Did the CIA write Wind of Change by the Scorpions?
As humans busied themselves about the various concerns, they were scrutinized and studied.
Dr. Loeb, what percentage chance do you give it that you have indeed uncovered extraterrestrial or non-human technology?
With infinite complacence, people went about their affairs, yet across an immense ethereal gulf, intellects vast and unsympathetic threw their plans against us.
All of a sudden, a stick out of nowhere landed right in front of us, and there was no tree, nothing overhead. Something threw it at us.
Yeah. What's your hot take on Travis Taylor?
I've got an exclusive for you guys if you want it about the Alaska.
We do.
Okay.
Dr. Taylor was revealed to be the chief scientist of the UAP task force with the Pentagon.
All things unexplained.
So some of that, I think, sir, we'll save for closed session.
Okay, before we dive into the document, we need to be clear about who David Grusch actually is. He's a former U.S. Air Force officer and intelligence official who served inside agencies like the National Reconnaissance Office and the National Geospatial Intelligence Agency. He submitted whistleblower disclosures through formal channels within the intelligence community, including the IC Inspector General. Those are documented facts, and this new DoD IG report overlaps in timing and subject matter with Grusch's filings, though the report itself does not name him. And now let's go back to David Grusch's own words from 2023. Here is his opening statement before Congress at the Unidentified Anomalous Phenomenon hearing via C-SPAN.
Mr. Chairman, ranking members and congressmen, thank you. I'm happy to be here. This is an important issue, and I'm grateful for your time. My name is David Charles Grusch. I was an intelligence officer for 14 years, both in the U.S. Air Force, both active duty, Air National Guard, and Reserve, at the rank of major, and most recently from 2021 to 2023, at the National Geospatial Intelligence Agency, NGA, at the GS-15 civilian level, which is the military equivalent of a full bird colonel. I was my agency's co-lead in unidentified anomalous phenomena and transmedium object analysis, as well as reporting to the UAP task force, UAPTF, and eventually, once it was established, the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, AARO. I became a whistleblower through a PPD-19 urgent concern filing in May 2022 with the Intelligence Community Inspector General. Following concerning reports from multiple esteemed and credentialed current and former military and intelligence community individuals that the U.S. government is operating with secrecy above congressional oversight with regards to UAPs. My testimony is based on information I've been given by individuals with a long-standing track record of legitimacy and service to this country, many of whom also have shared compelling evidence in the form of photography, official documentation, and classified oral testimony to myself and my various colleagues. I have taken every step I can to corroborate this evidence over a period of 4 years while I was with the UAP Task Force and do my due diligence on the individual sharing it. This is because of these steps, I believe strongly in the importance of bringing this information before you. I am driven by a commitment of both to truth and transparency, rooted in our inherent duty to uphold the United States Constitution and protect the American people. I'm asking Congress to hold our government to this standard and thoroughly investigate these claims. But as I stand here under oath now, I am speaking to the facts as I've been told them. In the U.S. Air Force, in my National Reconnaissance Office, NRO, reservist capacity, I was a member of the UAP Task Force from 2019 to 2021. I served at the NRO Operations Center on the Director's briefing staff, which included the coordination of the Presidential Daily Brief and supporting a variety of contingency operations, which I was the Reserve Intelligence Division Chief backup. In 2019, the UAP Task Force Director asked me to identify all special access programs and controlled access programs, also known as SAPs and CAPs, we needed to satisfy our congressionally mandated mission, and we were direct report at the time to the DepSecDef. At the time, due to my extensive executive level intelligence support duties, I was cleared to literally all relevant compartments and in a position of extreme trust, both in my military and civilian capacities. I was informed in the course of my official duties of a multi-decade UAP crash retrieval and reverse engineering program, to which I was denied access to those additional read-ons when I requested it. I made the decision, based on the data I collected, to report this information to my superiors and multiple inspectors general, and in effect becoming a whistleblower. As you know, I've suffered retaliation for my decision, but I am hopeful that my actions will ultimately lead to a positive outcome of increased transparency. Thank you, and I'm happy to answer your questions.
All right, what exactly is this document? Well, it is not a rumor sheet. This is a FOIA release from the DoD Office of Inspector General, obtained and published by John Greenewald Jr. at the Black Vault. The FOIA request asked for all Inspector General complaints, reprisal investigations, threat assessments, or disciplinary communications, referencing whistleblowers who reported UAP-related programs or technologies. So the first key point is that UAP disclosures are protected. Here's what the DoD IG found directly from the released text. The whistleblower in this case made 4 protected disclosures, including at least one to the DoD OIG. That means UAP-related disclosures were treated as legally protected under whistleblower protections, which is a critical distinction. Key point number 2, clearance actions can end careers like those of David Grusch without a firing. Again, from the report, the adverse actions at the center of the complaint involve revocation of classified access and rejection of compartmented program access, not traditional firing. It says on August 29th, 2022, revoked eligibility for access to classified information. Now that's important because it shows how national security careers can be disrupted, not necessarily by firing, but by removing essential clearances. This actually reminds me when I first got started in teaching, and I used to carry around this keychain, and basically I had a key to everything in the school. I was a teacher, coach, bus driver, and I just thought I was so cool with like 50 keys hanging off my belt, this really heavy keychain. But later I learned those keys meant responsibility. And so later in my professional career, I'm like, no, you can keep the keys, just give me as few as possible. But I feel like that's sort of like this situation, because how is someone in the intelligence community going to continue to do their job properly without the right clearances? Our key point number 3 is that not a contributing factor is a narrow finding. And here's where things really get misunderstood online. The OIG concluded, therefore, we concluded that the complainant's protected disclosures were not a contributing factor in the CAF's initial intent to revoke, and that even later, the same action would have been taken regardless of protected disclosures. Okay, that's a legal finding about causality, not a judgment about whether the underlying disclosures were true. But here's something else we need to keep in mind. There seems to have been a lot of internal confusion and optics regarding this situation. One of the most revealing parts highlighted by John Greenewald's reporting isn't in the summary, it's inside the redactions that we can see in the document. Internal messages show adjudicators questioning whether the complainant even blew any whistle and expressing concern about optics. This suggests confusion inside the system about how to handle UFO UAP related cases. And here's a quote from the report. On what grounds does the complainant have for a whistleblower case? Now, there is some powerful context to add to this, and that is that David Grusch's clearance was later restored. Another part of the OIG document, also detailed in the Black Vaults review, reveals that after the initial revocation, the complainant successfully appealed to a personnel security appeals board, had his clearance reinstated, and David Grusch returned to work. Now, I do think it's best not to overanalyze this document, in large part because there's a lot missing. John Greenewald's article notes a staggering detail. An additional 44 pages were withheld in full in coordination with the Office of the Director of National Intelligence. That includes all personnel identifiers and intelligence sources and methods. All right, so how does this all relate to David Grusch, UFO whistleblower? The DoD IG report does not name the complainant, but as the Black Vaults reporting makes clear, the timing and structure of this case strongly overlap with David Grusch's publicly known whistleblower filings, including a May 25th, 2022 disclosure of urgent concern document signed under penalty of perjury by Grusch's legal team, something that Greenewald has highlighted as highly suggestive but not quite definitive. So let's be crystal clear about this. John Greenewald Jr., the Black Vault, legally obtained this document via FOIA. The report establishes that UAP-related disclosures were treated as protected and investigated. It shows how security clearance actions can disrupt careers. It does not conclude the disclosures were false. However, whether this refers to David Grusch actually cannot be confirmed solely from this document. And that's what the text actually says. And shout out to John Greenewald's meticulous FOIA work at the Black Vault. We get to read it all for ourselves. You'll find a link to the entire document in the show description. And now let's talk a little bit about our giveaways. If you're watching on our YouTube channel, all you have to do to be eligible is to hit that subscribe button and comment on this video, and that will enter you automatically into our giveaways. We're still giving away a signed copy of New York Times bestselling author Patricia Cornwell's Sharp Force. And if you haven't already, make sure to check out Identity Unknown, because we're in there, all things unexplained. We also have a sweet Sasquatch Coffee Company package coming to a lucky listener. They were kind enough to send us this Howl in the Night very dark roast. It smells amazing. It tastes even better. And we've got lots more goodies, including some newly arrived signed items from Bev Vincent, incredible author within the Stephen King universe. We also have a signed copy of Colonel Drew Miller's book, Preparing to Survive in the Age of Collapse. And Colonel Miller is joining us on All Things Unexplained on Wednesday, January 28th at 1:30 p.m. on our YouTube channel. Friday, January 30th, you can catch CJ and myself live with Artisan Tony on the Pi-Fi Show. Just search for Pi-Fi Show on YouTube and join us that night. Let us know you're there. Also coming up in 2026, we've got Stephen King multiverse author Bev Vincent joining us. And we can now announce that on Monday, March 2nd at 9 p.m. Eastern, we'll be joined live by the Nightcrawler team. That's the Tedesco brothers, Jerry and John, and Donna Lee Nardo. They're going to be here to talk about their mobile UAP research. We cannot wait for that one. And on behalf of CJ and Smitty, this is Dr. Mounts. You've been listening to All Things Unexplained. I want to encourage everybody this week to get off your phones for a little while, head out into the woods, look up at the sky. You may not find a Sasquatch, you may not spot a UFO, but you might just find something even more important out there, and that's yourself. Until next time.
I am here to discuss the so-called flying saucers.
We know now that in the early years of the 20th century, this world was being watched closely by intelligences greater than man's.
Did the CIA write Wind of Change by the Scorpions?
As humans busied themselves about the various concerns, they were scrutinized and studied.
Dr. Loeb, what percentage chance do you give it that you have indeed uncovered extraterrestrial or non-human technology?
With infinite complacence, people went about their affairs, yet across an immense ethereal gulf, intellects vast and unsympathetic drew their plans against us.
All of a sudden, a stick out of nowhere landed right in front of us, and there was no tree, nothing overhead. Something threw it at us.
Yeah. What's your hot take on Travis Taylor?
I've got an exclusive for you guys if you want it about the Alaska.
We do.
Okay.
Dr. Taylor was revealed to be the chief scientist of the UAP task force with the Pentagon.
All things unexplained.
So some of that, I think, sir, will save for closed session.